Hi, my tubies, my TikToker, SheilaTruelove here with you, and I want to talk about the silent treatment. Yes, how to handle the silent treatment. Personally, me, I ignore you, and personally, I'm glad you shut the hell up, because God knows I'm a very busy person, and yeah, I don't play, I'm not a child, I don't play games, and I'm a firm believer that without communication, there is no relationship. So considering this is no relationship any longer, yeah, I'll give you a certain amount of days, maybe 3 strikes, you're out. You got 3 days to play that dumbass, excuse my French, I was getting ready to curse, that stupid game. But anyway, that's just another form of manipulation, trying to get what they want, trying to break you down. You can't break me down, honey, because personally, I don't care. But I'm not going to live in my home on eggshells. I'm in the kitchen, and you're not saying nothing to me because I can ignore the hell out of you, because I got so many clients that I'm talking to. I'll get on freaking my DMs and talk to other dudes right in your face. You're not talking to me, so what's the problem? But then that's just me. Let's listen in, child. This is a narcissist. And he explains to you why these circus clowns play this childish little game. You know, they have the emotional intelligence of a carrot. The emotional intelligence of a carrot. I don't have time for that nonsense. But anyway, without further ado, child, here we go. The silent treatment.
And that the narcissist in their life used to ignore them and not give them a reason why. And if you're new here, I'm a narcissist. I actually have narcissistic personality disorder. So when a narcissistic person is giving you the silent treatment or stonewalling you and ignoring you and pretending that you don't exist, and they finally break, and you ask them, like, why are you ignoring me? Why won't you tell me what I did? They will say things like, you should know what you did wrong. If you loved me, if you cared about me, if you really knew me as a person, you would know what you did wrong to me to hurt my feelings. And the reason that narcissistic people say this is because they don't have a real valid reason why they went silent on you. You could have talked to an attractive waiter or waitress or someone like that made them feel insecure, so they shut down and went silent on you. You could have not taken the trash out in a timely manner. No matter what it is, it's typically going to be a reason that's embarrassing to admit, so the narcissistic person wants you to guess. But when you start guessing, you're going to be giving them ammunition to use against you later on. So this person is saying that the narcissist in their life used to...
Okay, so we heard his take on the silent treatment. Let's listen in to someone else's take on the silent, dumb nonsense treatment. Here we go.
Treatment. And then there's a narcissist silent treatment. See, when you're in a healthy relationship and you're upset with your partner, you can't last too long without speaking, right? Because when you live together and you value actually hearing their voice, you see that they're upset, you realize you were actually an asshole or you have some blame in this situation. After a few hours, maybe half a day, taking that walk to clear your head, spent the rest of the day after a morning argument, you'll still love each other. Even in the moments where it's hard to really like each other. But a narcissist silent treatment, oh, that's different. See, this is a form of manipulation. This is to get you to break. This is to avoid accountability. But more importantly, this is to get you to bend to their will. And it's the same unhealthy ass silent treatment that makes you feel like you're in the wrong, even if you weren't. And don't expect an apology. Justin, I'm sorry you feel that way. And think about that. Someone who loves you days or weeks without uttering a word to you. All for you to come back later and say you're sorry? That ain't right. And that damn sure ain't love. There's the silent treatment, and then there's a narcissist silent treatment. See, when you're in a healthy relationship and you're upset with your partner, you can't last too long without speaking, right? Because when you live together and you value actually hearing their voice, you see that they're upset, you realize you were actually an asshole or you have some blame in this situation. After a few hours, maybe half a day, taking that walk to clear your head, spent the rest of the day after a morning argument, you'll still love each other. Even in the moments where it's hard to really like each other. But a narcissist silent treatment, oh, that's different. See, this is a form of manipulation. This is to get you to break. This is to avoid accountability. But more importantly, this is to get you to bend to their will. And it's
So like I said, it's just a tactic that they use to try to get what they want, to try to break you. Personally, me, I don't have time for childish games. I'm not a child. I wasn't even a child when I was a child, according to my mother. She said I used to say the most amazing things. Get down, you. And yeah, it's a manipulation tactic. Let's listen in further. I know how to handle the situation. Emotional intelligence of a carrot.
Master of the silent treatment. When you do something or say something that displeases him, he will shut down for days, weeks, even months. He is punishing you. He is a vicious abuser. Enough. Get my...
There's the silent treatment.
Your silent treatment in relationships is common, but I'll tell you what's not really understood. The person who is dishing out the silent treatment is actually just as uncomfortable as the one who's on the receiving end of the silent treatment. There seems to be some kind of narrative that the one who's dishing out the silent treatment is holding the power. They're not. Usually what happens is when they're young, they find a way to cope. Very often, and one of those ways of coping is by shutting down. And then this is what is being translated into their older life, that when they have an argument or when there's a discomfort in their relationship, they shut down, and that's the silent treatment. They don't really know how else to cope with the discomfort other than to shut down. So think about this scenario. Here's the person who's receiving the silent treatment. Here's the person who's dishing out the silent treatment. And the dynamic that tends to happen is the person starts to get anxious, the person who's on the receiving end. So they start to pursue the person in the silent treatment more and more. And this is what happens. They move further and further, and they move closer and closer, and they move further and further. The thing that really supports is for this person to step back, to allow some distance, and from a safe and distant place to say, I'm here when you're ready to talk, and to get on with their own lives. Because actually, underneath it all, what the person dishing out the silent treatment is really craving is the contact too, but they haven't yet learned how to say that. Yes.
Well, she sits here and say, well, when you're ready to talk, we'll be ready to talk. Personally, I don't have time for it. The way to handle it best is to ignore them. Continue hanging out with your friends. Continue doing all the things that you usually do in the house. Just ignore him. He doesn't exist. And 9 times out of 10, if my ex was trying to give me the silent treatment, look, honey, you're going to need me before I need you. Considering I do damn near everything for you. I manage the household pretty much. You always asking me, can you help me with this? Can you show me how to do this? Can you do this for me? That's the kind of ex-husband I have. So he couldn't have the silent treatment for too long. Oh, now you ready to talk? Is that right? Well, now let's flip the script. I could play that childish game personally. You got like 3, maybe I'll give you a week of the bullery. And yeah. Anyway, let's listen in further regarding this narcissistic. It's definitely narcissistic. And remember, they have the emotional intelligence of a carrot.
It's your business. If you elect to not communicate with your partner and need some time to yourself to digest your feelings, gain some clarity, and just need a moment to gather your thoughts to express yourself clearly, cool, that's healthy. But when you're the asshole who uses silence as a form of punishment, when you use it as a form of manipulation, when you use it as a way to shut your partner out to avoid the situation entirely, you're engaging in toxic ass behavior that will eventually lead to resentment. See, because in a healthy relationship, there's conflict, disagreements, arguments, moments where you don't even want to look at each other, but you know what you do? Still love each other. You take care of each other, and you show enough compassion for one another that you can get to the point where you work through the problem together though. But if your partner has a problem with shutting you out and giving you the silent treatment for days on end, you know where you're going to end up emotionally, right? Feeling like you ain't good enough to have a conversation with. Your silence is your business. If you elect to not communicate with your partner and need some time to yourself to digest your feelings, gain some clarity, and just need a moment to gather your thoughts to express yourself clearly, cool, that's healthy. But when you're the asshole who uses silence as a...
It's like he said, if a person needs a moment to gather themselves, maybe take half of a day, because, first of all, you got to understand something about men that I've learned. Men, it takes them a longer time to process things. Like something you tell a woman, because we multitask really well. But I've learned this, and that was relatively new to me. I learned this some time ago, but men take a long time to process things. We process things like in lightning speed. So what may take me, I don't know, an hour or 2 hours to process, it might take him a whole day or 2 days. Really? So I can understand if you need to take half of a day, or maybe for a man, maybe a day or 2, considering how slow you are. We get it. But when you sit up here talking about 3, 4, 5 days, a week, some people have gone as long as a month. Who got time for the bull to reach out? Really? I'm supposed to be walking around in my house on eggshells, feeling uncomfortable, because I can make him feel real uncomfortable. Trust me when I tell you. But like I said, without communication, there is no relationship. See ya.